So welcome everybody back to Veil of Sound. And yes, it's the second special this week. And we're very happy to have another Norwegian band with us today who also release a record tomorrow, Friday the 14th. So I'm very happy to have two of the guys from SIBIIR here with us. So thank you guys for joining.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah, our pleasure. Maybe you can first of all say what the name and what you do in the band, of course, apart from being the two most handsomest guys in the band.
Apart from that, we don't do much. We're just, I'm just saying.
Somebody's got to do the runway.
Yeah. Well, I'm Tobias, and I play the guitar.
My name is Steffen, and I also play the guitar.
Yeah.
So you see that we have the two guitarreros here with us who are responsible for the whirlwind that you get on more or less every SIBIIR record. I also hope I pronounced it correctly. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the other question that we always ask here on the Veil of Sound is, what is the band shirt of the day that you can pluck at the moment? I see you have something.
Yeah. Well, I'm wearing a Norwegian band called Beaten to Death. It's a grindcore band.
Don't they also have a new record either just out or coming soon?
No, it was 1 week ago, I think it was released. They're having their release show here in Oslo tomorrow, actually. So yeah.
Let me guess, you're going there.
I'm going at least. I don't know about
I think I'm going as well.
And Steffen, what are you wearing?
I think this is Attan or Attan, which is also Norwegian brutal sort of hardcore metal-ish band. Good friends of ours. We've known them for a long time, and nice guys and a great band.
Yeah. Before anybody asks what I'm wearing, I'm also representing at least my home country. German avant-garde black metal from at its finest, Unruh. For those of you who don't know anything about them, just check out our archives. You will find a review of their last record. Awesome guys, politically on the correct side of things, which is of course important. We record this shortly before the European elections. And so Unruh, a very, very good band, and also live something to watch, because then all the psychedelic elements come out a little bit more. It's interesting that you two guys are representing Norwegian bands indirectly without knowing about it. But that is something that I also asked the two guys from Rule of Two 2 days ago. Do you have an explanation why the Norwegian scene has been exploding so dramatically in the last, let's say, 10, 15 years?
You're thinking about like the harder side of the Norwegian music, or
in general? Because I mean, like, you got all those crazy jazz bands that come from Norway. You got guys like Mo, who does her totally own thing, which is amazing. You still have the veterans like Motor Psycho. And then there are lots and lots of other bands, including yours, including Damocles, and so many. How does it come?
That's a good question.
Yeah, I know.
At least for our genre, or like the harder area of the rock or metal, is of course helped by, for example, the success of Kvelertak. You know, people start looking to Norway to are there any other what's the new Kvelertak, or are there any other smaller bands that I can find like via Kvelertak, for example? I don't know if I can explain why, like, suddenly there's as many good female pop artists from Norway as there were, or earlier Sweden were the only country in the Nordics with like the big export of pop music. But that goes for Norway now, and Denmark as well. So it's hard to explain, and I can't pinpoint one reason why it's happened.
It's interesting that you mentioned Kvelertak, because I've also been thinking about them a lot over the last couple of weeks when I was preparing these two interviews. because although, of course, their music is very different from what you guys are doing, or also to the two guys behind Rule of Two, very, very different.
Mm.
But I think that was like a moment, they, at least, for example, in the States, they were so big that, just like you say, a lot of people were looking to Norway. And I think the other reason, at least for me, if anybody asks, the other reason is that there is now so much time between, well, the Lords of Chaos era and now, that this stigma of, you know, okay, they're all Satanists, they kill each other, they hate each other, and they all play black metal.
Yeah.
I think the time is now so far gone that there is also a fresh start for a whole new generation of musicians.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think also what Kvelertak has done with huge success is that they have broken down these puristic genre walls. That has been they have been really, when it comes to especially maybe black metal, but also punk and rock and roll, it's, you have the puristic fans that they want only that small genre, and Kvelertak has been able to tear down those walls and just been exceptional at writing catchy, hard-hitting songs. And it, of course, it helps to be a majestic live band as well. So and working hard, touring.
Yeah, but they have also been good at bringing other Norwegian bands along when they go touring Europe, for example.
Yeah.
Which we have done 2 times, which is the reason why some people in Germany maybe have heard of us, because we were there with Kvelertak, you know, and so.
And I know somebody who wrote a review upon your last album, and I'll just say,
yeah, absolutely.
No, you know, jokes aside, I think it's a well-deserved acknowledgement of your work, which also is shown in the fact, and now everybody outside of Norway, behold, we are talking to 2 basically, what is it? 2 award nominees for the Norwegian, for the biggest prize in Norwegian music, the Spellemann.
Yes, that's right.
How did you react when you heard about the nomination? Were you surprised?
Maybe, well, surprised, but we had a hope that we would get nominated. Not because we think we're better than everyone else who released really, really good music in 2019, but we're proud of that record, and we knew that we were in contention for being nominated. So we had a hope, but were pleasantly surprised and really, really happy. It's when you get nominated for something like that, which everyone here knows what it is. It's you can call it the Norwegian Grammy, but that's a thing that makes our parents go, okay, so you're good.
You're really doing something.
Okay,
you're not just wasting time.
Talk about it in like family dinners. It's like, yeah, we were nominated for the Spellemann. Oh, okay.
And now. In Leibniz, is that like a real award show? You go there, it's like a real complete evening. How does it work?
Yeah. Historically it's been like that, like red carpet and a TV show for a couple of hours on TV, and if you win, you come up on stage and hold a thank you speech and everything. It's become smaller and smaller the last years, how much attention there is around it. I think this year was the first time it wasn't broadcasted on the national broadcasting channel here in Norway. It was like through an online newspaper instead. So, but it still holds its ground as something, something cool.
I think it's they're quite known for their after parties, but of course, the one year that we got nominated, it was the also famous COVID year.
Yeah. You were nominated and there was no show, right?
Yeah, so we were actually on this couch, right in the apartment, watching it on the telly.
Yeah.
quite anti-climax, but still, we were really proud
Yeah.
just to have gotten the nomination.
Yeah. And I honestly, I would not be surprised if you were also nominated for the new record for, I hope I pronounce it the way you would, like Undergang. For all the people out there, in German it would be Untergang, and it's something like, well, how would you translate it into English? The last day,
Yeah, and
final moments, end game.
Yeah, or end times, or like yeah. In Norwegian we say undergang.
Yeah, it's something like the collapse of everything, right?
Yeah, yeah.
That is also something that we should talk about when listening to the tracks, when looking up some of the lyrics. I have a feeling as if you are very discontent with the times that we are living in. Is that correct?
Yeah, we can only speak on behalf of Jimmy, who writes the lyrics, but that's at least how he explains a lot of the themes he's writing about. It's like he likes to write, or he gets inspired or angry or whatever you want to call it, by how shit everything is. How, in the world globally, not of course, it's not so shitty living in. I don't know if we're the best country to live in the world anymore. We don't have much to complain about, but like the total state that the world and the globe and the climate and the political stuff that's happening all over the world, that's what inspires Jimmy, at least.
Yeah, and I mean, you're totally right. Like every country has its flaws. You know, some countries have more than others, but each country has its flaws. However, I also have a feeling as if your singer was sometimes screaming his lungs out, sometimes vocalizing a little bit more, but as if he's really passionate and driven about what he's singing. There is always that usual question: what comes first for a band? The topics that you're talking about, or the music? How was it in your case?
For us, I think it's always the music that comes first. But for our previous records, Jimmy, the vocalist, he's always been present when we are working through the songs. What's different this time is that he has moved to basically the other side of the country. So we have actually written this record more or less without him.
Except for the lyrics and vocals, of course.
Yeah,
that's his job. But like he gets the songs when it's time for him to start thinking about the vocals.
Yeah, but usually he has been more involved from the get-go. Now he has been coming into it at a later stage, which has probably affected our songwriting a little bit. But yeah, the short answer to your question is the music comes first, and then the lyrics.
Did Jimmy then also record in a different studio, or did he record with you?
No, he I would say like 90% of the vocals on the album was done in the same studio that we did everything else in, and then he did like one track and some dubbing and stuff when he went back to Ålesund, where he lives now.
So if I asked you two guys, what is the worst part about 2024 at the moment? Like, what is the biggest problem of our society, of our world? What would be the point that you would be pointing at? You know, like this problem, that problem, just the two of you.
Yeah. For me personally, it's the war in the Middle East with Israel and Palestine, and all the atrocities that's happening on the Gaza Strip, which is so much content and imagery that you get overwhelmed almost, sadly. So I think maybe the worst part is becoming maybe a bit numb and used to those stories every day.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's been going on for so long time as well. So it's not a good feeling to feel that, oh, okay, just another day with something a bit worse every day.
Another shooting, another bomb. Yeah, that's true. And we're going on 8 months now. It's also something that we should not forget.
Horrible. That's what I would say.
Yeah, it's
Steffen, would you agree, or would you think of another problem?
It's impossible not to agree with what Tobias is saying. For me, I think the fact that we never seem to learn from history. Just doing the same shitty mistakes over and over again, seeing that the richer are getting richer, the poorer are getting poorer. We have enough funds, we have enough resources in the world to fix basically everything. And
if we wanted to,
some people at power chooses basically not to. And it makes you feel helpless. It makes you, it makes me angry. It makes me extremely disappointed. So yeah, I think, and these are also the things that lead up to the war that Tobias mentioned. So yeah.
It's always interesting to see that we, just like Steffen said, we have enough funds, we have enough products, we have enough food to feed everybody. We just don't get around that one fucked up thing that we always tend to have, and that is nationalism. All that shitty "my country first" thing.
Yep.
Yeah, and we haven't learned from it.
Yeah. No.
That's also why it's so important to vote, people. I know that when you see this, the election is already over, but there will be other elections in your country at some point.
Yes.
So, you know,
vote or you don't get the right to complain. Vote.
That's true. There is something that I also always, being a political science teacher, that I always tell my students, and many of my students can now vote. So I've been talking with them a lot about the elections, and being one of those outspoken people who also sometimes cusses in class, I basically told them there is a German word that is hard to explain. It's called Stammtisch, and it's a place where old guys gather, drink beer, and after the fourth beer, they think they know everything, and then they complain. And those are usually also the guys who don't go voting. So I told my students, well, either go voting or shut the fuck up, because then you're just like the old guys drinking beer and not doing anything. Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
And that's still true. That's still true.
Solving world
is that
problems.
also the reason why some of the songs are so angry?
Sorry, Torsten, what was that?
Is that also one of the reasons why some of your songs are, sorry to say it like that, but some sound really pissed off?
Yeah. I think, well, since we start with the music, like, and the ideas for the songs are usually just like normally a guitar riff or a bass melody or something. It's I would rather say that it's like that. This is the music that we have inside of us right now, and I don't think, at least for me, it's a, now I'm angry, therefore I'm writing this type of riff.
Yeah.
More like a sudden rush of inspiration or creativity, or just sitting and playing for 5 hours and something came out of it. So
definitely.
So I don't think we start our music like it's born out of anger or aggression or a certain.
But at the same time, I think everything that has to do with art is a result of the times that we're living in. So maybe not that we're not maybe aware of
not consciously,
but still, I think it's a good question. I thinking about it. Yeah, of course. I think it's a lot of the foundation behind the music.
Something that also strikes me, and I'll take the opener of your record as an example: Deceit and Divergence, right?
Divergence and Deceit.
Yeah. Divergence and Deceit.
Yeah.
I knew I'd mess it up at one point. That is really a very good example, I think, because at the beginning you have the feeling of, okay, this is a pumping, forward punching, blackened hardcore track, however we want to call it. And then there is this ending when it goes over into track number 2. And the ending is a little different. It's a little, I don't want to say mellow, but it's a little less aggressive. It's a little slower.
Yeah.
And that is something that I really like. And that's also one of the reasons why I think you have a good chance of getting the Spellemann next time.
Okay.
There is always something on the new record in many, many tracks where you step a little bit away from what one expects or what one thinks will come next.
Mm-hmm.
Is that important for you also, this level of surprise for the audience?
Not consciously, but we, since we are, most of the times we start with just the music and like we work a lot with the song before thinking about vocals, for example.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to maybe a bit quick become bored. Like we have to jump to something now. We have played this riff for too long. But basically it's a little bit too short when Jimmy is starting thinking about vocals later on. But I don't think that we consciously together are trying to, what can we do now that will surprise someone who listens to it. It's more like, what can we do now that we think is really cool.
Yeah.
And that is what I would be asking next. The songs that you write, you know, as complex or as easy as they are, first of all, you write them for you guys, not for any kind of audience in your head.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Is that then also a reason why, sorry to say it like that, but why there is always a little bit of more than a year or two between your records? You know, it's always like 3-4 years. Now I think it's even 5, but that is of course also because of a pandemic. Is it, you know, you want to get those songs right to the point where you say like, okay, that's where it should be?
Yeah, we're not the fastest working band in the world.
Which is totally cool.
Yeah. I think it's two things. That the one thing is that the band is a hobby for us 5, so we work full time. And how many kids are there in the band now? 7, 8.
Wow.
Like we have in total, or we have other stuff to do than make new songs, unfortunately. So that's one part. The other part is that we say that we are a democratic band. All 5 of us has to be happy about everything that happens in all the songs. So that also makes it take some time.
Yeah. We don't have like a band boss. We don't have that one guy that does it all and just tells everyone else what to do. So we have sort of a saying that we won't release a song unless all 5 are happy with it. And of course that also makes the progress perhaps a bit longer, because we want to please everyone. But at the same time, I think that's why we are so proud of the result when it's finished. Because I think we with certainty can say that these 9 songs that we are releasing now, everyone is 100% happy with them.
Yeah,
that is definitely understandable.
Yeah, and we have kind of been working in chunks, kind of like now that this record is coming out, or it's a year ago maybe, we set the dates for when we're going into the studio. So like the next 7-8 months we don't have the time to play any shows. Then we need to use our time, the time we can use on the band, we need to use that meeting for writing new songs. and preparing to go into the studio. And then we go into the studio, and now we're releasing the album. So the next 6 months or a year, we will spend our time rehearsing the set list, because then we are playing live shows. Now we don't have time to write new songs. So and then the more that happens, or like the more shows the people want us to play, if we're coming to Germany and like are doing another European tour, for example, we don't have time to write new songs until we're kind of finished with playing concerts. So that's also a reason why it takes some time.
Yeah, and that's also, of course, as you just said, you know, it's not your job. It's something that you do almost.
Yeah. We use our holidays to go play with SIBIIR.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is fun.
That's also something that you say that it's fun. That it should be fun, right? I've already mentioned the problem of pinpointing your band. I know that musicians normally don't give anything for genres, but would you feel offended or flattered if I said that you are a blackened hardcore band?
I would not be offended. I understand that description of our music. It's blackened in, like, it has inspiration from black metal, like with the minor chords and harmonics and some blast beats and everything. Nothing in like our image or lyrics is black metal or like in the black part. So that's fine to then call it hardcore. I've started to just say we play metal. to basically everyone is like, what do you play? We play metal. Like, what metal bands have you heard of? And then they say something, and I say, yeah, it's a little bit harder than that.
Metallica's Black Album.
Yeah. I think in the beginning, like when we released the first 2 songs in 2016 or 17, we did like all the press releases and all the info ourselves. I don't think I don't think I wrote a specific genre, but the first ones that tried to describe our music called it post-metallic blackened hardcore.
Yeah.
Something like that. And I was like, okay, what is that?
Like...
I get what it is, but like say that to a person that is not really into all types of or like you have to know quite a lot about music to understand all those references. But if you say like,
if you don't know the lyrics, or if you don't know the genre, yes, of course.
We play Norwegian metal.
That is probably a very good description.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could get offended by people trying to place our band in any genre, because what you hear, that's your opinion, and it's impossible for me to disagree with your opinion of what we are. So and I don't think we're easily offended anyway. So so if people want to call us metal or new metal or black metal or death metal, or I couldn't care less.
I was a little bit offended when somebody called us party metal. No, it's like that's not right. We're not party metal. But
but then let's go a step further, without saying if there is an example in your head. We all know that bands are always compared to other bands.
Yeah.
Of course. And I sometimes even think that's better than labeling a genre. I think it's sometimes better to say like, okay, this band sounds a little bit like All Pigs Must Die. I myself would say like that's sometimes a better way of approaching it. But has there ever been a comparison where you say, without naming the band, but where you say like, I don't get it, apart from party metal?
Yeah. But at least for me, that's been like, I never heard of that band. I've never. Should I have heard about them? Yeah. Does anybody else know who they are? Like, no. Okay. So check them out. Yeah.
I heard that we were compared to this metalcore band at some point, which I just totally didn't get. But then again, I think it's interesting because you obviously hear something in the beat that reminds you of that band. So okay, it's just funny.
Yeah.
Really.
Then let's look at it from the other way around. If I compared you to, let's say, Converge or any other band, which band where you say like, okay, that is a compliment. If somebody calls me, okay, it sounds like this or that.
There's a lot of bands who would be a compliment for me. You mentioned Old Pigs Must Die. I love them. You mentioned Converge. I love them.
Well,
so...
that's the same. That is the same couple of people, right? So
Okay.
you know, like
Trap Them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that is a very good band.
Yeah. No. There's been many comparisons where I think, wow, that's cool. Like they sound like a mix of this band and this band and this band, and like I love all those three bands. So yeah, cool.
Steffen, would there be a band where you say, okay, that is a huge compliment for me, apart from the three that Tobias already mentioned?
Oh, I think it's difficult name dropping bands like that, but of course the bands Tobias have already mentioned goes for me as well. Then if you would say I can hear some old Norwegian black metal bands in there, I can hear some old Swedish death metal bands in there, I can maybe, I don't know, I can hear some Mastodon in there. That's a huge compliment, and
but at the same time, it's not weird if someone says that like that they can hear some of these bands in our music, but because all the bands we've mentioned now is bands that we listen a lot to, not bands that we try to copy or steal from or in any way like that. But of course, you are inspired to what you listen to and what you love, and so even though it's not obvious for me every time that like, oh, that this reminds me of that band. Like, okay, I don't get it, but okay, cool.
It's also the way I think that, just like you said, you are unconsciously influenced by what you listen to, and you're also unconsciously influenced by what is going on around you, right?
Yeah.
Because one is usually the soundtrack to the other.
Yeah.
And it's, I mean, like we all know that, right? We always associate times in our lives with certain songs, certain events, certain moments. And yeah, that is definitely the way that is something that music can do.
Yeah, absolutely.
There is something that I want to talk about, and I'm pretty sure I indirectly already know a little bit about your answer. Are you guys aware that you are that your new record, Undergang, is the 200th release on physics?
Yeah.
Yes.
How does it feel?
That's great.
I feel proud.
Yeah.
This label has been well, I think they were established or got established when we moved to Oslo and got into the scene. So I think for us, we have followed Physics Format from their first housed release and all the way up to the 200th, of course. And it was and it still is a cred label, at least in Norway. So to be a part of that family, I'm proud.
Yeah,
I'm extremely proud that we have 3 releases now on that label. That would have been not a childhood dream because they weren't around at the time, but
I know what you mean.
Young adult dream.
Yeah. Those are the most important ones.
Yeah. If I remember correctly, I think our first album was 99.
Yeah.
Physisk Format 99th. And our second album was 149, I think.
Yeah.
So it just felt right to finally hit.
An even number.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, it's of course something we're proud of, but like it's also gives us like a hint of more attention around the album as well, which is a good thing because like this is Physics Format 200th release and it's our album, so it's a really cool thing. There are not many artists who have been fortunate enough to release 3 albums on Physics Format, so we're proud of that as well.
And something that also always strikes me, I mean, I know that Physics Format is also releasing records from non-Norwegian artists. Nevertheless, I don't know if you agree with me, but if anybody asks me, okay, what is the music scene like in Norway? I would at one point certainly say like, okay, listen to some of their records, listen to some of Physics Format, because even though they're vastly different genres on that label, I think that is a very good starting point if you want to dig into Norwegian music at the moment. Would you say that too?
Yeah.
That's a very, very good point, actually. I haven't thought of it myself, but yeah, I think you nailed it.
Yeah, because they, Christian and Physics Format, they're not a genre label. He releases everything.
Yeah.
As long as he thinks it's really, really good, then he'll release it. So it's everything from like hardcore electronica music to our music and everything in between.
Singer-songwriter, country, or Americana, or
noise rock. Yeah, that's true.
Or stuff from Denmark he thinks is cool, that want to release stuff on like Collapse, right?
Yeah.
Isn't Collapse from Sweden? Or no, there are 2 Collapses.
Yeah, no, the Danish Collapse.
Yeah, okay, because the Swedish Collapse was out on Trepanation Records. So, guys, first of all, thanks for those insights. But of course, nobody is allowed to leave a Veil of Sound interview without having to go through the infamous quick fire round at the end. You get always 2 alternatives and have to choose. And both of you have to choose. It's not that I will, for example, give.
Okay. Can we disagree?
Tobias, our one. What?
Can we disagree, or do you have to?
Yes, of course you can disagree. Not everything is peace, love, and sunshine in this world, right? So you can disagree. So let's start with a band that has released on Physics Format. Arabrot. I'll give you 2 records: Gospel or Norwegian Gothic. And I know that the second one is on Pelagic, but still, it's the same band.
Gospel.
Both? Okay, that was fast.
We're in sync.
Yeah.
But would that also be, in general, your record of choice for Arabrot?
I actually think that is my favorite from them.
I think
they have a lot of different records, but that one stands out for me in a good way. It's a really, really great record.
The thing is that, in my opinion, they have never released something really, really bad. So it's generally hard to say, right?
No, but I just remember when the Gospel came in Physics Format shop, and they had like a exclusive. It was so nice. It was like it was so exclusive. They have like a limited special edition one. It was I like the physical aspect of release as well.
By the way, if anybody is out there who wants to get rid of his limited edition copy of Gospel,
okay.
Because honestly, I've been searching for that for a reasonable price for some time now. Let's stay in Norway. The first Norwegian band that I ever listened to and that I was fascinated by was a band with a singer who stuck little miniature rockets up his ass.
Hunk.
Hunk. May he rest in peace.
Yes.
Turbo Negro. Apocalypse Dudes versus Ass Cobra.
Apocalypse Dudes.
Yeah, for me as well.
That's probably not the correct answer for the hardcore fans, but I think for me, Apocalypse Dudes is just the manifestation of Turbo Negro. with I think the production, the sound, the guitar playing from especially Uruguay, of course.
Yeah, the
is
quality on the vocals as well.
exceptional on that album. And
For me, it's that was the album where I discovered the band called Turbo Negro. That was or Turbo Negro, that's what they say in Norway. But that was their first record I heard, and I was just blown away. And then that stuck somehow.
It's interesting. It's one of those rare occasions where, for me, not the first thing that I heard by a band outshines others, because usually it's the way that the first thing that you hear from a band, that is the one that sticks with you, right?
Yeah.
And I still remember listening to Turbo Negro, or hearing about Turbo Negro, and also consciously listening to them in 92, 93. And I know that Apocalypse Dude came a few years later, and I don't know why, but that pomp, that epicness, that was something where I was like, okay, yeah, that is something different. That is really cool. Yeah. You have mentioned Kvelertak, and of course, the question must be the self-titled record or Meir, and I'm sure I've mispronounced it.
Meir. The second album.
Yeah.
First and the second.
Yeah.
It's the first.
Yeah, I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to go with Meir.
Ooh, first disagreements in the band. Yeah. Black metal. You have mentioned that you like to listen to that, and I'll give you two couples. The first one, Satyricon versus Dark Throne.
Dark Throne.
I was going to say Satyricon. There's something about the like catchiness in Satyricon, at least like modern Satyricon, that just gets me somehow.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
It's
not
hard to deny the appeal of some of their songs.
Yeah, and it's not far from like Satyricon. The most Satyricon, when they're the most catchy, to Kvelertak is like this short of a jump.
That's true.
Yeah,
that's true. The next one is, for me, not a question at all, but let's see what you two guys say. Bathory versus Mayhem. You could ask me that question any time, any day, any moment, and my answer is still, I'll tell you after you tell me yours.
I would have to say Mayhem.
Yeah,
I would have to say Mayhem. I know that Bathory probably came first, but Mayhem for me is it's so much more than just the releases. I mean, what that band has gone through, and had just given everyone the finger. They have come back every single time stronger than ever, and still to this day being probably the most successful black metal band in history. I think you have to respect that.
Yes.
I went to
nevertheless, my answer is always Bathory.
Okay, yeah.
No, I'm also saying, ma'am, and I went to their. They just celebrated 40 years, and they had like a big anniversary show here in Oslo. I went to that, and it was so cool. They opened the show playing Death Crush with Mannheim on drums, and then like played through their catalog newer and newer, and it was so good. I've never heard them as good as they were a couple of weeks ago. So I was blown away by how good it was, and 40 years into that career, it's impressive.
To be clear, you know, not taking away any credit from Mayhem. You know, if you do something in such a niche genre for such a long time, with all the other things that have been happening, that says a lot about a band.
Yeah, and also doing such different type of things as well, like from Death Crush to their newest album. There's a lot of different albums genre-wise in there. Like what on earth is this album? It's like, but it's still mayhem, and it's like something completely different. So it's not like they're releasing something different every time they release something, is my impression. But it just always good. So yeah.
By the way, for everybody out there who wants to hate me, now that I said Befri, I can even go a step further. I never got anything from Dimmu Borgir. If anybody wants to say like, oh, it's one of Dimmu Borgir is the one band where I say like overrated as fuck.
Okay.
So, it never gave me anything.
Okay.
Cradle of Filth neither. Like,
okay. You should go and listen to Puritania, or was it?
I've had so many friends of mine who love Dimmu Borgir and who try to get me into that, and it's always like, thanks.
Okay.
And I don't know why. Basically, when I look at what they're doing, they should be one of those bands that I like. I don't know.
I think
but the same goes with Cradle of Filth.
Yeah, I think it was one of the former vocalists of Mayhem, Maniac. I think he got a question about Dimmu Borgir, and I think his answer was black metal that you can sing to. What the fuck is black about that? And he may have a point. I don't know.
But as I said, like 30 years ago, there was when people talked about the Norwegian scene, they either talked about black metal or most of the time they were talking about motorcycle.
Yeah.
And so I'll give you two motorcycle records.
Ooh.
Timothy's Monster versus Let Them Eat Cake.
Timothy's Monster.
No, wait, what is it? Timothy's not Monster. Monster, right? Yeah, Monster.
Yeah.
So Timothy's Monster versus Let Them Eat Cake. And I consciously chose two very different records.
Yeah, I'm also going to go with Vortex Surfer, Timothy's Monster, because of Vortex Surfer and Golden Core. No, Vortex Surfer is on that one.
Vortex Surfer is on
Trust Us.
Yep.
Yeah, Trust Us.
Yeah. No, Timothy's Monster. I love Let Them Eat the Cake as well, like Walking with Jay and all those songs. But there's something about Timothy's Monster that
I know a lot of motorcycle fans disagree, but I also like that millennium era of motorcycle. Well, when Phanero's Time, Let Them Eat Cake. I think that's two brilliant albums. But for me, Timothy's Monster is just. Yeah.
That is also a band where I have to say, like, whatever you think about them, you have to give them a lot of credit for having done it so long and for basically putting out a new record every year.
Yeah. Yeah, with a new drummer every year as well.
It's every 3 years, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's true. Very, very many drummer changes. And the last one, as we were talking about Converge, one of my all-time favorite bands. I'll give you two records by Converge. Same era, Jane Doe versus No Heroes.
For me, that's Jane Doe. It's of those two records, the one I've listened to the most of those two.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Jane Doe.
Do you then also stick your noses into the side projects that these guys have? I mean, like we already mentioned, All Pigs Must Die, but there are lots of them, like Wear Your Wounds, Umbra Vitae, however else. So are you also following that?
Not as closely as, but since there are so many, it's
yeah.
But I actually think I listen over time more to All Pigs Must Die than Converge, actually.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about them that hits me a little closer to home than Converge. I still listen to a lot of Converge, but
is Doom Riders a side project too?
Yes.
Yeah, I've listened a lot to Doom Riders, the first two albums. I think they're great.
In general, that whole Hydra Hat / Death Wish Mishpoke up there. There are so many great bands up there.
Yeah.
And yeah. Definitely. So, guys, first of all, thanks for all your time. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll keep my fingers crossed for next year's Spellemann.
Yeah, we should do that.
For everybody out there, when you are watching this on the day it comes out, it's June 13th, Thursday, June 13th. Tomorrow, the 14th. So in just a few hours, you can listen to this wonderful record, Undergang.
Yeah.
It is a step forward for these guys, not only in the way they did it, but also in the way it is as a record. It's still pissed, which is a good thing. We need more pissed off bands in this world. So check out this record tomorrow or in the following days, and I am sure you will find a few songs on that record that you will really, really like. I did, and I can understand why these guys are really proud of it. So, gentlemen, thanks for your evening and thanks for your time.
Likewise.
Thank you, Thorsten.
So, talk soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.